How do I, 20F, tell a room full of people to stop trying to set me up with a 21 male SPED guy? I am in a small class of 20 people. We are quite tight-knit and are a very liberal, left-wing group. Nothing wrong with that, so am I. The majority of these people are chronically online weirdos who were bullied and have finally found their people. So am I. Think Tumblr on steroids. I genuinely don't think that anyone is trying to bully this kid or make fun of him. They just want him to go for it and live his life. This man is called Jake. He went to his local college as he needs to live with his parents. He has to have someone sit in with him from the support team in his classes. We once had a 4-day college trip out of town, and his sister had to come with to keep an eye on him. He is a great guy, we all get along together, but clearly he can't live a normal life without support. I guess Jake had a crush on me and he told someone in the class. Everybody in the class thinks this is fantastic and is trying to set us up together. They always talk about how cute we are together, ask me if I like him. They giggle and whisper and it's just frustrating. A no should just be enough. But this is going to be absolutely devastating to the guy. Disabled people get horny and for the first time in his life he thinks he has a chance to get with someone. How do I nicely go about rejecting him and telling the whole class to shush over the whole thing without it getting nasty? Because I can see this getting really nasty if someone asks questions or throws in an opinion. To be blunt about the whole situation, he is 21 but it has the power dynamic of a grown adult and a kid. He has a bedtime and gets dropped off and picked up by his parents. Not because they are controlling, but because he needs it. Be direct and firm. Tell the class you're not interested, and that it's inappropriate to push the situation. Explain that Jake's feelings deserve respect, but so do yours. No need for further discussion. If your liberal, left-wing group of friends doesn't respect your right to decide who to date and not date, maybe they're not that liberal or left-wing. Do you have any people in your class that you're closer to than the rest? Actual friends? I'd take 1 or 2 people aside, tell them what's up and ask them to spread it from there. If that doesn't work, it'll at least help if you have some people on your side to shut this down. Have a real, serious conversation with those people and explain to them that you're not interested, and that this behavior will end up hurting both of you. I don't think you need to have a chat with Jake directly. Getting the class to stop encouraging this is the priority here. Chances are that he'll either eventually back off, or he'll ask you out, in which case you have a chance to directly tell him that you're sorry, but you don't think you're compatible. Please stop pimping out my body to people. I will choose who I want to date and I am not interested. He is lovely but I do not owe anyone a chance to be with me. If you feel so strongly about matchmaking, you should date him. What? You're not attracted to him, he's not your sexual preference? It does not seem to matter to you that he's not mine, so why should you get to choose who you date and not me? Disabled isn't in a swear word, you can just say disabled. SPED guy, people will really say the dumbest shit to avoid saying disabled. Jake is an adult in college, tell him you don't want to date him. If he can't handle rejection without doing something bonkers, he shouldn't be at college. If your friends can't handle you plainly saying no to dating someone, they aren't very good friends. Side note. I can't drive because of my disability. I got picked up and dropped off by my mom. So if that's the only reason you think he can't consent, that's super fucked of you. He's got a support system in place, he'll be fine. How do I talk to my 25F boyfriend, 27M, about taking food from me? A few months ago, my boyfriend and I decided to move in together and subsequently starting melding our lives into one space. This recently became an issue when it comes to mealtimes and eating habits. My boyfriend is very strict when it comes to his eating habits, including meal prepping, caloric intake, his daily sugars, protein, etc. This was something I knew about him before we started living together and never would have imagined it could be a problem until now. Recently, my boyfriend has begun commenting on my quality of eating and how it compares to his own. To be as open as possible, I am a pretty average eater. I don't gorge on sweets or binge at meals. I eat a lunch and dinner most days, and sometimes I'll throw in some yogurt at breakfast when I have the time in the morning. Sure, I'll eat some French fries or some ice cream every once in a while, but I am far from the type of person that would need their every bite monitored and evaluated. I have no history of having an eating disorder, nor have I expressed an intense desire for my eating habits to change since we have moved in together. When it comes to my weight and appearance, it stays pretty close. My weight tends to fluctuate 5-10 pounds or so throughout the year, mostly because of stress and a demanding job, but it stays within the same range it has always been since we started dating. This issue has slowly built itself up over time, with him telling me I don't need certain foods or portions of food when we are sitting down for a meal. He will take food that I make for myself from the fridge or pantry when he goes to work in the morning. He will specifically target things he views as unhealthy, such as if I bake anything or buy a bag of chips, other junk food when grocery shopping. When I initially brought this up to him, he just said that he was just looking out for me and has yet to stop his actions when I explicitly said for him not to. I made it a point to tell him that his actions make me feel like he views me as someone who is incapable of making decisions regarding their food, or like I am some kind of glutton he has to live with. He has checked the garbage on occasion when I order takeout to see if I finish my meal or if there is still food left in the to-go containers. It has gotten to the point that he has removed foods from my hands at the dinner table, saying that there is no point for me to eat them because they are just empty calories. These foods are things he is comfortable with himself eating because he himself needs the calories instead. I must stress that I do not overeat or have an unhealthy relationship with eating, and I never have. Our relationship is honestly great on so many other levels. This just seems to be a thorn that I am not sure how to approach. How do I talk to my boyfriend about his actions around me eating or the food that I buy? I'm an adult and I can eat what I want. Stop making comments about my food choices or we will have to rethink our living situation. Our relationship is honestly great on so many other levels. So many other levels, but not the level where you get to have bodily autonomy. Tell him one more time, very clearly. Do not talk about what I'm eating, do not take my food. If he doesn't cut out the shit, I do not see how you can stay with this asshole. So if you took his food prep and threw it away and said, you don't need to eat this way, he's be totally cool with that? Then, when you do it over and over, you say this is one factor. What else is he doing? Has he mentioned any clothing you wear or said you should stop painting your nails or putting on makeup? Does he tell you how to drive? Honestly think, is he controlling you? He's trying to exert a worrying level of control over you and your body. Think of moving in together not as the final or even next stage of the relationship, but as a serious test of compatibility. Given how he's treating you, do you feel you're compatible with each other? Do you feel respected? These are topics you can discuss with him, but be wary. Just because he's orthorexic doesn't mean you have to be. Stop justifying who you are and how you eat. No one ever has the right to control your food. Tell him to stop commenting and obsessing about your food. If he doesn't, leave him. Imagine him doing this with your children. 29F feeling worthless after 32M fiancé wants prenup. How would you feel? 29F, am getting married to my fiancé, 32M, in 2 weeks. Let's call him Bob. Bob and I have been together for a little over 5 years. Engaged for a year. Bob owns 2 companies. One of them his baby he built from the ground up and has been a work in progress for about 10 years. He started his company about a year into our relationship, so I've been there since day one. I wasn't super supportive at first, not because I didn't believe in him, but he was working 80-plus-hour weeks and I wasn't mentally prepared to be a part of a newer relationship where I barely got to see my partner. Fast forward, I now work for my fiancé. I do the office administration, payroll, etc. Shortly after our engagement, Bob mentioned he wants a prenup to protect his company. Okay, cool. I totally get it. Fast forward to 2 months ago, after not discussing it since he brought it up last winter, he springs it on me that we're getting one. Okay. It's only 3 months before the wedding and we haven't talked about it, so I was little annoyed, but whatever. At first he didn't want to entitle me to any percent, but we discussed and worked something out where we were both okay with it. We had worked out that the longer we are married the higher percentage of the company I would be entitled to. Either way, it's still less than the state marital laws would entitle me to, so I am giving up quite a lot. Bob said we're going to do a prenup now then do a postnup later to include what I am entitled to percentage-wise from the company. I just met with my lawyer today and the way the prenup is drafted, I get squat. He basically once you're married and you sign this, you have no claim even as a surviving spouse, and what if the postnup never happens like he says it's going to? Then you're screwed. I'm just feeling so worthless, invaluable. Like, you're supposed to be my partner, my husband. What's yours is mine and mine is yours. This prenup is basically saying, what's yours is yours and mine is mine. I am so very hurt right now. My meeting was 6 hours ago and I've been on and off crying all day. I haven't talked to Bob yet because he's been at work all day. To be honest, the state law says I would be entitled to 50% of all marital assets. I am not even asking for near that. But the fact that he's saying, at least in my mind, you're not entitled to anything we build together unless it's specifically in both of our names, and even if I died, you're not entitled to it, just hit me to my core. I am not sure if he even knows his lawyer put the part in about the elective shares or not, but it's still a lot. What should be a happy time in my life, getting married, I haven't felt this down in a while. There are obviously many more layers to this all, but this is the basic overview. Bob will be home soon, so I plan on talking to him, but I never knew I could be made to feel this meritless. Thanks for reading. Let the lawyers negotiate a fairer agreement. Don't sign as is. Your lawyer told you it's a one-sided prenup. You need your lawyer to come up with a counteroffer. Include, if you have kids, and a cheating clause. ETA include a 5-year cutoff time. Just listen to your lawyer. It's not something you should sign as it is. Let the chips fall where they lie. This wedding needs to be postponed until you reach agreement, but be prepared for that to be never. Delay the wedding, let your attorney manage details. Don't feel worthless. Think of it like this. You carry insurance on your car. Not because you think you're going to total it. But, if it gets totaled, you're covered. Red flags all around, babe. You need to postpone the wedding, in my humble opinion. Figure out if this is the person you really want in your life. 'Cause I know I wouldn't want to marry someone who's ready to leave me in the cold financially if we divorced. My husband would want to protect me financially even if we divorce. 'Cause he cares about me as a human being. The real prenup needs to align with the imaginary postnup. What about a house and other marital assets? Does that say half? It seems to be that after 5 years he would be more concerned about your well-being. My 30 female husband, 30 male, gave me an STI. Why? My 30 female husband, 30 male, gave me an STI. And is blaming me. Why? I need to understand the blame shift. I'm so broken right now. My chest has hurt for days. I'm throwing up when I think about everything. My husband is my one and only. Meaning he is my only intimate partner. Married 10 years. We have a very colorful history of him being emotionally unfaithful. Then a few years where things seemed okay. Then a lot of evidence suggests he was cheating. He confessed on 2 different occasions to a physical affair. Then took it back. Lied and denied. He is currently seeing a sex addiction counselor for a porn addiction and swears he has never cheated. He wants to take a polygraph to prove it. 2 professionals have told me he could cheat the polygraph to be careful. So a few weeks ago he came home and smelled of perfume. It was very subtle and could have been missed. Acted strange. He suddenly wanted to wash his beard because it smelled of food. Then he claimed he wanted to take a nighttime shower. I mentioned that was weird. Suddenly he didn't. Then he decided to sleep on the couch to monitor his blood pressure all night. 3 weeks later I had a severe itch. Tested positive for chlamydia. I'm waiting on HSV, AIDS, HEPs, and even if they are negative I won't know, for sure, until 3 months from now. I confronted my husband and he has turned this around on me. Twice was insistent his would be negative. Now I know I haven't cheated. I know I've got this from him. We got into a huge fight. And he is turning this whole thing around on me. He has said all the things I've already said. 1. How could I expose him and our daughter? 2. What kind of person am I? 3. He doesn't even know me. 4. There is something wrong with me. Plus just adamantly accusing me of cheating. When we both know this came from him. And I'm absolutely shocked, sick, destroyed, and I don't know why he is turning this on me. Like, did he think he could keep the marriage by blaming me when we both know this is him? What's going through his mind right now? Is he insane? I can't even process this right now. I truly can't. We haven't spoken since he said all that. Side note. I get tested annually. So the positive diagnosis came about now. I was also on antibiotics for 3 weeks. For a dubkey ear infection and sore throat. Before he smelled of perfume. So I was infected that week. He claims he will take a polygraph and pass and wanted me to take one. I haven't cheated, but I have no idea how he thinks he will pass. Why is he blaming me like this knowing it is him? What's his end goal? You've married a fucking sociopath. My guess is this will never get better. All you'll ever get is mistruths and lies, probably all you've ever gotten from the man. Your husband cheated, got caught, and is deflecting guilt to avoid responsibility. He knows it's his fault, but blaming you is his way of controlling the narrative and protecting himself. This tactic is called gaslighting. His end goal? To make you doubt your own reality so he can escape the consequences. He's manipulative, dishonest, and his behavior shows a complete lack of respect for you. You're wasting time expecting honesty from him. He's not interested in the truth. He's only interested in saving himself. Stop tolerating his lies. Leave him. Gather evidence. Are you really shocked? He has a history of cheating and denying and lying. If you love yourself, you'd leave that relationship for good. I'm sorry, but this is an inevitable consequence of staying with a cheater. Just grow a pair and dump him now. Stop playing his games. This is insane. Oh mate, he's evil. Just listen that what Evie1 says and stop engaging and leave.